And we already know that this king fired his last wife. I don't know. They might have put her to death. Welcome to the weekly recap and anchor point discussion starter, where we play back part of this week's message and share questions you can use to discuss with your family, friends, or small group. The purpose of anchor points is to pray for one another, share God's word together, and to spend time in fellowship building relationships. You can do that anywhere at any time. So here is this week's clip. He also sent instructions for her to do something about it. Basically, go talk to your husband, the king. But here's the deal. Esther's going to show us here in just a minute why there was danger and it could get her killed by doing so. So this is Esther chapter 4, verse 11. All the king's officials and the people of the royal province know that for any man or woman who approaches the king in the inner court without being summoned by the king has but one law, that they be put to death, unless the king extends the gold scepter to them and spares their lives. But 30 days had passed since I was last called to go to the king. All right, so what Esther's saying is, you're not allowed to go see the king unless the king invites you. And we already know that this king fired his last wife. I don't know. They might have put her to death. So is it a good idea for her to just walk in and talk to him, especially when he hasn't even called for her in the last 30 days? So she's letting Mordecai know through servants. There's a little bit of telephone going on between the servants taking these messages back and forth. And this is the pivotal point in the book, because the message that Mordecai sends back to her after hearing about her fear is probably the most famous verse in this whole book, in all of Esther. And it's about courage. And it will change the course for God's people in the land of Persia forever. Esther 4:14. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. But you and your father's family will perish. And who knows, but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. This brings me to the second point this morning, and it's this. I'm courageous when I trust and join in God's plan. I heard another quote this past week that has been used throughout movies and years, and it says this: courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And so again, that second point is, I am courageous when I trust and join in on God's plan. Mordecai basically is telling his younger cousin that the God of the Hebrew people is known to be the God that delivers. Like over and over and over again, the Hebrew people have been delivered. This is her opportunity to be a part of that deliverance, to be a part of what God's plan is, to be a part of God's will. And he's telling her, if you don't do anything, there's a good chance. Basically, Mordecai's going to die. She's probably going to die, because it's probably going to come out that she is a Jew. And it's not, she hasn't actually shared that with her husband at this point. Mordecai suggested she did it. And so Esther gets this message where Mordecai's telling her that she was possibly put in her position for such a time as this. And I just love that verse, because we all are put in our positions in lives for just a time like this. That we all are there and we can all be a part of what God is doing. Listen, God's going to do it anyway. The deliverance will come from somewhere else. We just might not be a part of it. So this is our point right here, right now in your life, is your opportunity to be a part each and every day of what God is doing.
Hey guys, Pastor Trevor again. Just wanted to remind you how important it is for you guys to spend time together reading God's Word. When you do this, it gives you the opportunity to be able to share with one another, to be able to help each other understand, to be able to ask questions together, do all these things. Take time, whether it's on your phone or whether it's on your physical Bible, or the scripture is actually going to pop up on the next screen if you want to just pause it there and take time to read it together there. Reading God's Word together is a crucial part of our anchor points, of our small groups, of family time together, spending time learning about God. So take a minute to do that, and then you can get back into the video.
Hey guys, it's Pastor Trevor. In this week's message, we talked about courage being the next characteristic that we need to be taking steps to get closer to Christ. In this message, we saw that Esther was challenged to be courageous, and she was, and she became part of the plan that God had for his people. We have the same opportunity each and every day to be courageous, being part of what God is doing. So my question for you this week is this. We're going to start with, where do you see God working? Where do you see God doing a good work in your life? Maybe at church, in a specific ministry, maybe something at work. Where do you see God working in your life? And then there's your second question is this: where can you get involved, or how can you be part of that plan? This is a great time to talk with your friends and your family at small group about taking next steps, just little tiny steps to get more involved, more part of what God's doing in your life and around you. Just like Esther, we can get involved, whereas Mordecai warned her, we could be left behind. God doesn't need us, but he wants us to be part of what he's doing. So how can you be part of what God's doing in your life? Don't forget to also go through the normal 3 questions we had for our discipleship strategy. They'll be on the end of the video. You guys have a blessed week, and we'll see you next week.